Hello my friend, welcome back to the channel. This is Jose Velez and today I have a special guest. I'm gonna go to a home studio of one of my friends here in Chicago, and we're gonna be having fun talking about stuff in the studio, so stay tuned. So you can see Chicago, snow day today. My second time coming. A good friend of mine from college, Lausell, was coming here to Chicago 2 years ago and introduced me to this great friend, Joan. Okay, here he is. See? I'm here with the camera. Hey. Say hi to everybody. This is Joan Velez.
Welcome to Thirdfire Records.
Yeah, Thirdfire Records.
We have the water ready. A lot of smell today.
Wow. Welcome. Let me give you a little shot here. Come here. Sorry guys. Okay. Nice. Here's Joan Velez. Fun fact. Same last name. We are from Puerto Rico. This is our country home in the Caribbean. So yeah. But I didn't meet him there. I met him here in Chicago.
That's awesome.
Which is a great blessing. Yeah.
Backstory. Long backstory.
So I'm gonna cut this out to start packing up all the equipment, and then I'm gonna come later. So see you soon. We're back here again with Joan Velez in his home studio. We're gonna do a little tour and talk about some things, so you might be interested. So stay tuned. Let's start. Yeah.
So this is the studio lounge. Little area when the musicians come in and sit down, have a drink, and relax. And then from there we move to the main studio when you are ready.
That's beautiful.
Let's go on.
Yeah.
Well, you can hand your coats there. School here in Chicago. So this is our insulation room. Inside this room we have a guitar cabinet, the bass cabinet. So we keep it insulated when we need it insulated, or when we want it to be in live, or we keep it into the live recording. So that's in this room.
Wow.
I know. Here is a couple of pictures of a few. I call it the Wall of Fame. A lot of great bands, like great people that work over the years.
That's nice. So guys, one day I'm gonna be in this water.
Oh yes, sir. Definitely.
Well, this is the entrance for
the entrance.
Thirdfire Studio.
Thirdfire Studio. There's the mixing area. The mixer. There's a analog console, speaker system, and monitoring.
What monitors are those?
Those are ELACs. They're audiophile speakers. They are passive. And I really like it because they have a really flat response. And
wow.
That's what you need in a studio. You want something that has a really flat response that is not lying to you when you're mixing. Normal speakers, normal speaker, normally they have some kind of problematic issue, so they have some frequency that are more high, especially normal speakers. We have a lot of bass or a lot of highs. So when you're mixing, and then you listen to the car and other systems, the mix will be all messed up.
Yeah.
That's why you want a really flat response speaker that they just give you. What you hear is what you recorded. The good and bad about it is that those speakers, they are really flat. They will show you the mistake in your recording too. So that way you know what you did wrong and what you can fix it or not. And that's what we have. And then have this really cheap Tascam speakers.
Those are Tascam?
Yeah, those are Tascam speakers. They sound really bad. But that's what I like it because I can hear how the sound is working into a really bad system.
Yeah.
And that would tell you idea when a lot of people cannot afford a big high quality system.
Those have a lot of mid-ranging?
They are really mid-ranging, yeah, definitely a lot. So especially for the vocals or the electric guitar, you will hear that bad frequency, so you don't have it recorded well.
Then you go and do your adjustment.
Your adjustment from there. So then we go back to the big speaker.
Hey guys, that's his channel.
Oh, that's my
Joan Velez.
Tutorial channels where I teach about mixing and production stuff.
Yeah, go and check it out. And subscribe and hit the bell. He has a lot of content coming.
Yes, sir.
Very nice. I've been learning from him a lot, so yeah.
But this
okay,
is
then. Yeah,
console. So this is my console. This is a Neotech 1979. At the end of 1979, I bought it 7 years ago. I had modified, did a lot of modifications to it. Mostly the sound of the console. I just tried to improve it with more modern parts, to give it a more headroom and a more cleaner sound too.
Wow.
And the other thing that I modified was they add this section, what we call it the producer desk. So in the producer desk, we modify a little bit these panels to add our reverbs and delay section here. So all this modifying here, so I can have access to my reverbs, delays here.
That's amazing.
And I create this, what we call it the system. So I'm too lazy. So what I do is when I look for the preset of the inside the reverbs, I just go up and down, and I can look. Moving.
Yes, it's moving there.
With my switch, I don't need to be like looking to the screen until I found the right reverb that I wanted to. Just moving the switch. The other one is just what we call it a long throw delay. When I want, that effect that you throw a delay and it goes long, da 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 repetition. So just to press this and that will throw on and off my long delay, which is it's easier that way. The other way to do that, and the other way to do it in the digital domain, you had to write it with a mouse, the delay right on a mouse, and that takes me like half an hour to do. This way, I just take me like, I just press it and go, And that's what I really love about analog is it's just really fast. I can mix way faster than I can do in digital. Don't get me wrong, I love digital too. I use digital all the time, but. It's way easier for me to work in analog to mix, especially to mix.
Okay, well, we're gonna get now. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk some stuff, and then we're gonna come back again for the tour.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're gonna have some talk here with our awesome friend Joan Velez. So let's see, Joan, what is your background music?
Wow. Well, it's a long time ago. I don't come from a musician family. Actually, my parents, they were no musicians at all. No, my dad was a pastor.
Wow.
And during the night and during the day, he worked in construction worker. So he worked hard for that. Wow. My mother was a teacher, kindergarten teacher. And, but no music at all in my house. But then my dad was a fan of music, so he bought a lot of music, and he always bring in vinyls. And my grandmother was a vinyl collector, Christian music actually, a lot of Christian music.
Wow.
But my dad was being a pastor. He used to travel here to the continental U.S. Every time they come in for a conference or something, he always go back with music, vinyl music. So we are like always involved listening to music, especially instrumental music. I don't know. He liked that stuff. So back when I was probably like 10 years old, I already was in music, interested in music. So I asked for my Christmas gifts to be a boombox.
Wow.
So I bought this boombox, and me and my brother passed every night recording stuff through, the cassette tape recorder. So that was what we did in the night, recording ourselves, just singing, But that was the main introduction to that part. I always been a technical person more than that's what I really love. So I passed a lot of time messing around with a tape, the tape recorder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my next question. Your journey in audio. How did you
For
start there?
that was the start. Recording myself and my brother in a tape machine. From there, later on, I pick up the saxophones as my main instrument. So then I went to study music, and I went to the Inter-American University in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
And before 2 years, I studied classical music, and then I got bored.
Yeah, I pause here. I also studied in Puerto Rico, but it was just music. For me, it was guitar music. But yeah, let's keep going.
So I study saxophone. I start playing, classical music. So it's not too many classical music for saxophone. So suddenly another university opened a music department with a jazz program.
Jazz.
So then I moved to the jazz program there, and I finished there. But it was great because I think I benefit a lot to be hearing classical music because I learned the technique.
Yeah.
And then obviously from the jazz part, where you learn the rest and the harmony and the rhythm and all this stuff. So for me, I think what related to the question is that was probably the best thing that happened to me because I learned to identify different styles of music and how they develop, how they form, change. And as a producer, I observed that really early.
You hear that? Please, you have to go deep. You have to expand and don't get limited on your area. See, he went classical, jazz, and this is now is helping you.
Oh yes,
in all the
big time.
All of
big time. Classical music have so much technical detail that you have to follow as a musician. That it had to be as a perfection to the way that you play. It's not like too much room for you to improvise around. You have to technically you have to
follow
play exactly what the conductor is saying, which is great. A really
it's a great discipline.
Oh, it's a great discipline, totally great discipline, and you can learn by the arrangers of that time, the era, the genius, how they arrange, how the early music is arranged, how they use the music to create emotion, which is what I love classical music. You can have a lot of ways to create emotion and changes, and you hear Mozart, you Bach, my Tchaikovsky, all those stuff. I always laugh because I used to get my history music class at 7 in the morning. So who get music class story at 7 in the morning? You're barely sleeping when you're a kid. So it was really good for me. I think it was great. Now that I'm looking in retrospect, right? In my career, it was the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
So
if you have the opportunity, go for it.
Yeah. The only thing that happened during that time was because I already learning to play my instrument better, saxophone, then I started going to studios to record for bands or my own band. It was like an early rock Christian band.
Wow.
And we are really bad. We are just learning. We are just learning at the time. We were just kids trying to play. And I go into these studios. Like I mentioned before, I'm a technical person, and then what I got in love with production was going to a studio, see all the equipment, and see the engineer doing some weird thing, look like a strange thing, like a sci-fi movie to me at the time. So in the meantime that the other friends, they were recording, I was sitting down next to the engineer watching every move. Whatever he was doing, I was watching and learning. It wasn't this, It was no YouTube, no online teaching, no college to learn audio. There was in the early 90s, late 80s,
Yeah, because we're talking about Puerto Rico. We don't have, like we have here in the United States. So.
Yeah, and that's how I started getting knowledge at the time. Just watching other people do it.
Wow.
After that, at the end of my college years, I decided to go and open my first studio.
Wow.
And it was an adventure. It just a simple room, apartment, and just a couple of recorders. And that time, just a reel-to-reel, just 4-channel reel-to-reel. That was my first recording studio.
That's amazing.
Yeah, times fly.
Oh wow. Yeah, that was my next question. So how do you became Thirdfire Record?
That's really a great question because it happened so suddenly, and it was a need, actually a need, because I was transition between being a professional musician, young professional musician, play with bands, to be a producer, and I wanted to do my own music.
Wow.
So I want about my own music. I want to release my own music, and that's when it comes. Well, we're gonna talk maybe later about the niche. I was living in Puerto Rico, and about my time in the 80s and 90s, the majority of music in Puerto Rico was Latin music, maybe jazz, Latin jazz, and tropical music. No, that I don't like it. It was already saturated of it. Every day you listen to the same thing in the radio. So me and my brother, with that little car, the radio that we took the recorder, we were listening to American radio stations, especially rock stations. I was completely passionate about rock music and all the grunge era, all the famous 70s bands. That's what I was listening at the time. And plus the classical music and the jazz and all of that was like a compiling catalog of music that was getting into my head. But instead of being for playing it, it was more about cataloging how the music was made. Because for some reason that's my way my brain works. Some people listen to music to have enjoy. For me, it's like I want to know how they did that, how they get that sound. So Thirdfire comes in because the need of making my own music. So I was getting out of the army at the time. I was enlisted in the U.S. Army. And when I get out, I was like, I need to go back to the music. I want to record my own production. So I did create Thirdfire as a label just for releasing my own stuff. So I talked to my brother. My brother was living in Texas at the time, and he said, okay, let's do it. So he moved back here to Chicago. We both stay here because we were looking to be, find a place where we can sit down.
Let me stop you there. So see, he didn't wait for anybody to come to promote him. He started his own business.
Yes.
So, it
was like, I always been like that. I'm the person that I had to do it. I had to be myself. I had to work on it. You cannot expect that people will give it to you. You have to work on it. And money, penny by penny, buying equipment, selling equipment, buying equipment, selling equipment till you create your own, build your own studio. And that's why we got it. We come from a really poor family, so we're not really rich. So we moved here to Chicago, and I started a label, and by the end of 2006, we make it official, Thirdfire record, which I wanted to announce the next year we have our 15th anniversary on the label. So we're going to be celebrating. We're going to have a great concert, and we'll have a great celebration.
Wow,
so you're all invited. We're going to be streaming live the show. So watch it.
Subscribe and keep following.
Yes. So we started that, and we did a couple of jazz records with a more fusion sound at the time, as the Velez brothers. So that was the name of our band. Me and my brother. My brother's a bass player and a percussionist, and we did well. For God blessed us in that way. We got a lot of radio play here in the U.S.
Wow.
And we went on tour, And by the second record, we are really popular into the jazz scene, especially in the smooth jazz scene and fusion jazz scene, which was what it put us there. And then it opened the door for me to work for other artists. They are looking for what I was doing with my production. Like I said, I did the whole studio to record myself.
See, that's what I'm also doing. That I'm putting my first, my songs and my stuff first. But now, little by little, people are like getting like, oh, this guy know what he's talking about. He did it with his music. I'm proving to them, and then people starting to follow. So you have to start first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those records are starting to do great in the radio, all that stuff, and suddenly the band broke. So it was like, now what we do now?
Wow.
So I said, look, I'm gonna dig into the studio. So decided to open my studio now. Clients are coming because they're listening what I'm doing to my records and they like what I was doing. And I start looking for work in other studios as an engineer and producer, and start working in the city, in the big studios, and making a name by myself that way. So I work in hundreds of records that way, good, bad, and the ugly, like they said, in every studio around. And that was a great experience, because you are learning every day. Engineering and producing something that you are learning something new every day that you come into the studio, always.
That's amazing.
That's how Thirdfire comes to live. And then I built this studio and been working here since then.
Wow. That's amazing. See, guys, I heard something in your channel about Grammy-nominated producer.
Yes. During this time, I was looking for different studios to work on. So I was like producing the records or working as an employee for big studios.
Wow.
So a friend of mine has a studio in California, in LA, Los Angeles. So I decided to go there and visiting him and whatever. We become very good friends. So every time that we have a chance to have a time together, I went down to LA and made records with him. And he called me for this project. And we went to the project there to do. When I get there, it's a famous person, a famous artist. I'm not going to mention the name because I know a person I want to be mentioned. But it was impressive to me because I didn't expect that. He called me to do the engineering part. My friend would do the mixing. I just want to do the engineering. So I'm preparing the microphone and the session for everything. They tell me this is going to be cool. It's a pop rock artist, fantastic, great. That's what I love to do. But suddenly, the artists show up, and the doors are like, no way, that cannot be this person. I wasn't dreaming. I'm dreaming. It's just happening to me. And then it's also a person that I really admire, and as an artist, and as a musician, and then we hit it up. We did the session, and everything happened, and okay, it was fun.
How many days?
We did 11 days of recording.
Wow.
11 days, because it was a lot of orchestra part. It was an orchestra part, so we had to record full orchestra. So
experience.
A great experience, because, for you to know that it's hard to record little things, imagine recording an orchestra. That is even harder than you can imagine. It looks simple, but it's not. It was over 55 musicians in that day. And then you have the conductor, everybody. You're trying to make happy everybody. Everybody listen to themselves. That the sound cues are fine, and it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. So we finished in 11 days. The project went out, and I don't hear nothing for months. Nothing. So I completed for about, so like we did a project, then like any other project that you do, expect that nothing happened. Then when they called me, my friend called me, Joan, we are being nominated for the Grammy. It's like, I'm going to die.
Wow.
I cannot believe this happening. And then it happens, and we got the nomination for that. As me as engineer, and he as a mixer. So that was fantastic. Fantastic time.
Incredible. Okay, so now we're going to go for the tour. Hope you're enjoying this, and stay tuned after the end. And this is part 1. It's going to be on my channel, but part 2 is going to be in his channel. He's going to be mixing drums or something that he want to show with us, and it's going to be amazing. So please subscribe, share, like, and all the stuff to support the channels. Okay, we're going to go to the tour now. Okay, so he already explained a little bit about the mixer. What about the name again?
This is a Neotech.
Oh, I see the name out
It's
there
a
now.
Neotech Series 1E.
This is big.
This console was made in at the end of 1979, 1980. It have a 4-band EQ.
4-band.
And a really nice preamp. The preamps are really nice in this console.
Yeah.
Really clean sound. They have some color, but not that colorful like other. That's the patch bay with all of my hardware equipment is set up.
Guys, for me, this is another level because I all do everything in the box with the computer, but Joan is other level.
So yeah, I really love consoles because there's a lot of things that I cannot do in digital. It's not that it's not possible. It's just it take more time to do. Like we were talking before, the automation,
Yeah.
the trimming, the summing of channels is more easier and more deeper in sound than is in the box. And to get the sound I want, I don't need to use too much plugins. In the box, it's probably I don't have to do too many things that I had to do in the box to get the sound that I'm looking for. Especially with Q and effects, because I can grab it right away. You see, these are all my sends, so they are in number. I know what all these reverbs are, and reverb D, C, B, and A. These are my effects, so I know what they are. Where I just grab it. I don't need to be creating buses or creating auxiliary channel.
You have already
It's
prepared
ready
to go.
Ready to go.
See everything marked.
Yeah.
Everything have a place.
Everything
You
has
use
place.
everything.
So this section is really interesting in this console because not many consoles have this setup. This setup is what we call it a bus. So these are a bus that are being used to record to tape machines, right?
Oh, okay.
These are a buses, stereo buses, so 60 channel stereo. But I don't use it for tape machine because I'm recording in the DAW, right?
Okay.
So what I use it for, I use what we call the small faders. Yeah, I use it for parallel processing.
Oh, parallel processing, nice.
So in this case, my first two channels are a stereo compressor that we call it parallel compression, obviously.
Yeah.
And I send different things there, depends on the song. Could be keyboards, could be guitar, whatever I want to parallel compress at the moment, depends on the song, right? Then I have a slab delay. As you don't know what a slab delay is, it's just a smaller, very short delay. You'll be familiar if you listen to Elvis Presley early records and you like all that kind of echo that is in there. It's a little echo.
The slab delay.
I have a slab delay that's there all the time for my vocals, set up for my vocals all the time. So I just switch. The only thing adjustment that I do is the slab delay. See, I wanted to send it to a reverb. You see, I have my sense here. So I can blend the delay with a reverb if I want to. With any of the four colors of reverb, because they're all different reverb with different color, different sizes to create more.
I'd like to do that in the door, but this is
the same. It's the same, no different.
Nice.
No different. It's pretty much the same. It's just here you grab it very fast and that's it. There's no different. You do it more faster.
Okay.
And after that, I have what I call the Dolby, which is I don't know if you're familiar with the Dolby company. They do products for cinema, right, and audio for years and years. But Dolby this system. They were doing noise reduction units for tape machines. You know, the tape machines are really noisy. They have a lot of hiss. So the Dolby invented a system where they would be ducking down the noise of the hiss with this equipment. I don't know if you can see it from here, but maybe you can probably see it.
I can do a little.
Yeah, zoom in here. This is the Dolby noise reduction.
Okay.
You can see this unit take the noise out, and it had like a dynamic compressor. So it compressed down the frequency of with the noises, and then when you put it in playback, he played back that frequency back without the noise.
Oh, okay.
Well, somebody, a good engineer, have the idea like, that's pretty cool. So we modify, we can use this for another instrument instead of just tape.
Okay.
And back in the early 70s, somebody changed it and decided to use for vocals, and it's awesome for vocals. They give you the air in the vocals that you're looking for, boosting just the certain frequencies. Having having a dynamic compressor in just one frequency in particular for your range, and that would be a parallel fader for my vocals, and I want to blend it. How much air I want? Less air depends on the song.
That's amazing. How long does it take you to do one song mix?
The main mix would take me a day.
A day? That's a dream.
A day, and I can probably finish that day, but I don't like it. I just wait till the next day. I come early in the morning with my coffee,
Wow.
And listen
Fresh
back.
air.
Fresh air in the morning.
Fresh air too.
And then you check it out and say, okay, this I made a mistake here, and then I fix it when you have your fresh airs in the morning. But I don't think never take me more than a day. No, not with analog. We talked about this before. I think it's about having a system to mix.
Yeah, he has the system.
So you don't have a system. What I'm assisting about, you have to have I don't want to use the word template. You know why? Because like I change things depends song to song, but you have to have a system that I know what this does, and you want to use it.
That's a tip there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, you have to develop. Yeah, I don't come with this concept. So you study all the great engineers, all the great producers. They all have a system.
There
to
you
mix.
go.
Michael Brower, Chris Lorage, Joe Ciccarelli, all of those great guys, great mixers. They have a system, and it's different. And what I did was incorporate a little piece of this engineer, a little piece of this engineer, a little piece of that, and my taste. And I create my own system from that.
So you see how everything is marked down?
Mm-hmm.
Do that in your system with a paper or something that you can remember. So you don't, when you're mixing, you don't have to bring everything that you don't know. You use what you know and move on.
That's important. That's why I always said that what it takes not a lot of time, but more time, is learning what a piece of equipment does.
There you go.
So I recommend is when you get a plug-in or any piece of equipment, sit down and use it in every instrument in every way. That way you will know right away this work well for this and not work for this. And what instrument work better.
Yeah.
And it worth it to keep it or you want to sell it and buy another thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
So
we need more of that.
Yeah, well, more over the years, I found equipment that does more things because I look for equipment that can do more than one thing. Obviously, you don't want one thing that just do one thing. You want more versatility. So I keep, so you can see in my back here.
Let's
this is my equipment, my 2 equipment racks. Actually, 3 equipment racks.
So 3 equipment racks.
And those are selected over the years because I know exactly what they do and what instrument.
This is a very famous one.
It's LA2A, yeah. This is a clone of the LA2A from the 60s.
Oh, yes. A clone? Wow.
This is the most modern version of them, which I think I found a little bit more open sounding. The older ones sound a little bit more darker than the ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love those for vocals.
Oh, I love those in vocals too. But actually, in this case, like I said, I rotate on them because every vocal is different. Exactly. Do you know what? You cannot use the same equipment for the same vocal, so it's not. That's why they are different taste in vocals. So, see, I show you here. I have a Varimo compressor, which is a tube compressor.
Wow.
Which I use in vocal in lead 9. And then I have a Fed compressor, which is a solid state compressor that I use in vocal. 2 completely different flavors. And let me show you in the console.
Yeah.
You see in my console I have 2 vocal phases, right?
Uh-huh.
And those are directly plugged to those 2 compressors.
Exactly.
And the reason that I use 2 faders is because one compressor have a color and one compressor has a other color. See, that's one in particular.
So one is dirty and one is clean?
One is really in your face, in front, and like aggressive compression.
Yes,
that one is a tubey, smooth, creamy compressor.
Okay.
So depends on the sound, I will be blending those tones to get the best of the vocal.
So what is this one?
This is the FAT compressor, and this is the tube code. FAT, yeah, FAT.
Yes. Okay.
Like 1176, I don't see what we use 1176. But this is an emulation of the 76. The only different this one from the original 76. I have another 76 here, you can see here. But this one is different.
Wow, yeah. The button.
Yeah. The old
button. It took me a long time to figure those out.
The radios, yeah.
Oh,
I use this one for tracking all the time. This one's to track my guitars and bass. Love it in guitar and bass, but it's set up for tracking. And that's why I don't move it from there. It's tracking is in the same, almost always in the same setup for tracking. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So this one uses 2 channels, so you can see one I have it for mixing, lead vocal, and have a particular setting, and I have this one is for tracking vocals. You have a different setting. This one I'm tracking vocals. I like to track with a little bit of compression, fast compression, so the when I'm hitting the converter, I'm not over saturating the converter. Number one, and the vocal is more steady. You feel better, so I don't need to work so hard with plugins later to get it to work fine.
So see, guys, everything has a place,
A purpose,
and a way to use.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great lesson.
Yes, sir. So this is the other rack. This I call it the tracking rack, and this where I record my drums. And this is a snare and kick. And this has Neve 1073s. Everybody knows them. Great EQ for tracking. And I have a Phoenix Audio, you can see here, which is for my guitars, because this, for some reason, this preamps sound great in guitars. They sound fantastic in guitars.
Nice.
So this is what it is. For overheads and room sound, I use the console preamps. But the console preamps are more open and more, these are more dense sounds, more fat sounds, which I like for a kick and a snare, to get it more fat and saturated.
So how do you get your guitar?
Amps. It goes from
Amps?
there. It's amp. It's a microphone. And do you remember that room that we saw in the back?
Yeah.
Behind this wall is an insulated room that you don't see.
Okay.
So in the corner there is connectors. You can see here.
You can see here there's guitars.
You come here.
Piano.
The piano. So you see this little box here is a DI box. This DI box do two things. One goes to the instrument so I can record the guitar clean, DI. See, I want to reamp later.
Wow.
I want to add an emulation, one of those emulations. And then I have another output that goes to the amp.
To the amp.
And that goes there. So I record both together at the same time.
Oh, that's so nice.
So that we help that. So I don't need, that way we can make all the noise and you don't want to hear because the amp is insulated there.
That's great. That's the
the
stereo for the mic.
This is two stereo pencil mics. Let me take it out of here. You see, I take care of my microphone. You know why? Because microphones are magnets. They attract a lot of dust.
Oh.
So, and it's not cheap to clean it. You see, you find a person that can clean it, they can break it. They are really sensitive, especially those capsules are really sensitive. Yeah, so I record my piano in this position. The reason that I record that piano in this position is because I like this piano to be recorded with the open front.
Take a look at the piano. Can you play something out there?
Sure.
That's a nice sounding piano. Yeah.
Great sustain.
Grace, yeah.
Not bad for 116 years old. This was made before the war. The Second World War.
It's inside Chicago.
Yes, made here in Chicago. It's a Bush and Lane. And I keep it exactly like it is. Original was. My piano technicians come in and completely refurbish the mechanics of it, put new letters and everything. But I didn't want it to change the tone of it.
Yeah,
I wanted to sound like it was original.
That's nice.
So I was mentioning the reason that I use this miking technique is for two reasons. One is I'm trying to avoid the mechanical noise of the piano striking in the string.
Oh yeah, you put it too close.
So when it's too close, you will hear the mechanics.
Yeah.
Other thing is the microphone not only is picking out the sound, is also picking out the reverberation of the reflection from the wood back into the microphone. Because it's a really dry room, so you can hear it's really dry.
Yeah.
So that helps a little bit with ambience to it.
And we'll take a look at the room. This is a nice place, and you have very good panels.
It's a little acoustic material here. Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
So that's in the piano part. This is my other.
Let's keep going with the next.
Yeah, sure.
Baby.
Let me see. Here's a lot of amps, little amps. These are orange, Hoyo. These are Blackheart. These are my little amps. I call it the little amps. The big ones are in the other room because they are too loud. These ones are not that loud, so we can keep it here.
What is that one?
This is a Fender vaporizer.
Fender.
Yeah, Fender did this back in the early 2000s. They did this a boutique Fender series called the Punch Up series.
Wow.
So it's kind of weird because it's a Fender, but it don't sound like a Fender at all. Sound really nice, clean, and it have a nice fuzz switch.
Okay.
You press it on, that's called a vaporizer. When you press this, it completely go into a fuzz distortion, like really loud. But it's really cool amp. I really like it for country music. I listen a lot for country music. Something that I'm being, for some reason, I got into that niche, and people like my country recordings, and I don't know how. I'm from Puerto Rico, but for some reason I'm good at recording and mixing country music. So there you go.
So then you have everything here for guitar, and for
this
bass?
is all guitar, all
Okay.
guitar. Bass I don't barely use amp for bass. I don't like it too much.
Okay.
I better use a DI for
DI?
bass, and then you had to dirty up, and then I run it for a guitar amp and make it distort if I need to. But I like to have my bass clean as possible.
Okay.
It will save you a lot of time too, because you're gonna be recording live with the band, and you have a bass amp here. The noise will be ridiculous high,
Okay.
and the recording will not be the best.
That makes sense.
Working
Nice.
show here. Let me see. This is a modified. Modified. Remember this. It's a modified One Audio U67, which is a copy of the Newman U67.
That's a big word.
Yeah, actually the original one, when it comes from the factory, this is a vice, so you can get the money for them, buy them, because they're good. And with little money, you can make it really close to a real Newman. I just replaced the capsule and the tube for a real Telefunken tube and a real Newman capsule, and I didn't spend more than $2,000. When a real Newman U67 would cost you over $12,000 to $20,000. No joke.
Rebecca.
Yeah. This one is a bill to me. Like I probably didn't mention in the video, but I have some knowledge of technical and construction, so I build my own mics too.
That's amazing. So you made?
This is a Telefunken of body. What happened is I bought this Telefunken and it was completely destroyed from 1968. Yeah, I bought it really affordable, so I built it myself. Bought a new body, a brand new body. Put all the electronics of the old one inside this one. So the inside is from a Newman U48. For 1968, but because I can afford a new one. So a new one 48 cost $25,000.
Yeah.
It's easy to get them, but
That's
that you can do
nice.
yourself. It's not difficult.
Wow.
No science in them. So these are my mainly two condensers. I do dynamics too, but my mainly two condensers for vocals. Again, the reason they had two is because they had different sound. Some people will sound better in the 67. Some people will sound better in the 48.
See, I will try those later.
Depends on the sound. So you want to check the drum?
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
move this stuff out here.
Let's check the drum.
So this is an old Sonor. I wouldn't say old because it's really from 2001, 2002, I think. But it's great drum for record live. I had 3 sets here: a Tama, a Pearl, and this Sonor, and my favorite is this one because it records really well. This one is all made in Germany, and they are made of forget the name of that wood. Birch.
Oh,
It's birch. A Scandinavian birch. It's really good quality drum set, and so you can find one, you get it. They are good price, and it's not. With the quality of the construction of this era, it's not even close to what they're doing now. This is much better.
see, he have his microphone and everything.
I
I
saw.
started out trying to record drums, and I quit and I gave up. That's why you see me doing the review for BST, because
Yeah.
I never try to, successfully record a drum. So
Is it
tell
drums?
us about it.
The drum is probably the hardest instrument to record. You know, it's because you have to think about drums as a whole, as a one instrument. People think as a drums are different parts of it. I treat drums like one instrument for me. It's important, obviously, the most important thing is the musicians. If musicians don't know how to play, you are done. You don't have a chance.
There you go.
Then the second thing that you have to have is a great instrument. It don't need to be expensive, it has just to be sounding good. Number 3 is tuning, which is the key. In my case, I love to tune the drums to the sound that I'm recording, to the key of the song.
Wow.
Because that it helped to glue the mix together in a more easier way. And that's a problem with drum. You can have a limit to how much tuning you can go, right? 1, 2, or 3 keys. But you got a drum like this or this quality can go. It's more flexible in the tuning.
Wow.
Definitely.
That's a great lesson.
So the other thing is with drum is getting the right cymbals for recording. People go and buy the brightest cymbals they can get.
Yeah.
But for recording, that will be annoying, and the mixing with that you have trouble later. Buy cymbals that are recording friendly. They don't need to be too bright, but other thing that you want it to the decay to be shorter. You don't want a drum that lasts a minute ringing. You know what I mean? When you're recording, you want it to be really to do the job and go. For example, this is what we call it a fast crash by Sullivan. So you hit it. See how it's closing really fast. You don't get ringing for too long. And this is our organic ride.
You got this
Right. The good thing, rides are problematic to get one, so I recommend to get one to test it in the store before you buy one. Just don't buy one by just thinking by the price or the brand. Test it. Even expensive brand don't have everything that you need for recording. I recommend this custom organic ride by Sullivan because it have a really sound in the corner, and it have a really good sound in the bell. Which is the hardest to get right. The majority of cymbals have a good corner but a bad bell, or they have a good bell and a bad corner. You know, this one have both, and you can crash it. It's still sounding good.
Yeah.
So that's a really key into that. In terms of miking, I have my miking is pretty simple. I don't do too much. Yeah, pretty simple miking. Chore in the snare, as you can see. This is an old chore from the 60s. I don't like the modern one. The modern one have like a weird frequency on it, a real peak in the frequency that make it. You hear some snare that you hit it, it sound like doing. That is the snare have it by nature, but the microphone is amplifying that frequency and making it really annoying to EQ later. So this microphone, the 545 is great for that because they don't have that frequency. It only has that frequency.
Okay. And those are?
These are Audix D2s, which is great for toms. Really like for some, so I had to put some Velcro on it because I had to take care of the drummer. The drummer started to hitting them, so they don't fall. So I have 2 D2s for my toms here. So you sound like this. They are auto-tuned, so that's what I do. I don't do too much to that. I think that's my secret, and it's not a secret. Is that I don't like to use top mics in the top.
Okay.
The reason I don't like to use is for years recording. It's what we were talking before. Is that I see the drums as a whole drum, as a whole kit. Once you put the microphone here on the top, those microphones just gonna pick up the cymbals only, just cymbals, and the tones are gonna be down. So the people what it does when they put this here, they use a filter to take out the rest, and they just pick up the the overhead, the cymbals, which is a technique. It's great,
Exactly.
but I don't. It's not the best to me, to my taste.
Exactly.
So what I do is this microphone here that you see, crazy microphone that you can see
There
here.
you go.
It's a stereo microphone. So this microphone pick up sound from here and this side, and from here and this side. So it's making a X.
Okay.
So not only picking in a stereo way the whole drum, like in this, like a triangle, it's also picking a triangle in the back of the room.
Oh.
So it's picking the room resonance back,
Okay.
and it's picking up the drums. So the drums sound more natural. You don't need to use too much reverberation, or you had to EQ too much the cymbal to tame it down, because they are more easier this way.
And what microphone do you have in the kit?
That is an ATM for Audio-Technica ATM 25. But that's something that I change a lot.
Oh, okay.
That is no stay. I have like 4 different key mics, because the kick sound define the style of music. I like this one when I'm doing kind of rock stuff, because they have that little tight punch into the opera sound.
Okay.
So I want something more like old school. I get a AKG 112 or the
Okay.
12, and that will give me more like a Beatles sound, more like a woofer sound, less attack.
So at the end of this video, we're gonna have a music that he has produced
Mhm.
for the outro, so you can hear what quality is coming from this
Mhm.
studio. Nice.
Sure. There's a few techniques, like I said, it's my standard way, but it can change sometimes, you know. And you may be looking around why all the floor is
Yeah.
in wood.
Uh-huh.
We do that because for some reason drums sound better in platform than in the floor.
Yeah, you can see that it's in the. in the
See, you put
platform.
it in the floor, the resonance of the drum transfers through the ground, and you lose all the fundamental notes on harmonics, and they disappear, what make the drum sound weak. When you have it in a platform that is floating, all the fundamental get there, and you don't need to. You don't lose that so much. Have the drums in a platform will help you with the sound of the drums,
Yeah.
because they will transfer the sound through the floor. They will be floating around there. So it is inexpensive. You can do yourself. Make sure that you have a piece of nice of wood, and below you have some material that will not resonate, that you can insulate from the floor. You don't need to build a drum room together. You know.
That's amazing. I see there, those are for headphone.
These are my headphone mixers for the musicians.
For the musician.
So every musician here have one. So you see it's another one in the corner for the bass player.
Oh, wow.
And almost in every corner of the studio is a different one. And they are Q monitors, so they can EQ themselves and change the volume themselves, so they're not being bugging you. The drums are too low, the guitar is too high. So they can control the volume of every instrument by themselves and feel comfortable.
I don't have any of those stuff.
Well, I record more bands, more people. So that's it's a must. To have.
Guy, my studio is only 2 channels.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So another one you wanted to notice the acoustic side here that you were showing before. So you notice that this change in this room is the acoustic side. We're using diffusion instead of absorption in this part.
I've heard about that.
The reason that we're doing is diffusion in this side, as you can see, all around the drums, is because I want the drum to sound alive. I want to have some reverberation from the room.
Yes.
I don't want a fully dead room. I wanted to have some diffusion there. So you're going to hear the echo in my voice when I'm here, compared when in the concert, which is really dry.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Nice. That's awesome. Oh, you have been doing here. Nice.
Guitars and stuff like that.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tour here with Joan Velez and me, Jose Velez. Stay tuned for more coming. Thank you for all your comment, sharing, and all to support all of us. And if you have any questions, just leave it down in the comments. So it was a pleasure.
A pleasure to be with you, and thank you for listening to. And any question that you have, just write it there. We are more willing to helping anything that you need.
Yeah, if they need anything from you, how can they contact you?
Oh, you can go to my website, it's thirdfirerecord.com, or you can go also to my YouTube channel, Watch Me Mix.
Yeah, I'm going to have all the links down below for all of you to go and follow and ask the question.
Any question, just let us know. We are more willing to help, you know. This is great, this show that you're doing, because it's help the community. It's a nice community, people learning new things. So
okay, so this was part 1.
Yes.
Part 2, he's going to be mixing, and then he's going to be in his channel. So stay tuned for more. Thank you so much.
See you later.
Bye. Okay, so this is something that he produced. You want to talk about something about it?
We are doing a new tutorial in this new program called Luna from UID. I'm producing this record for Daniel Isaacs, which is a good friend of mine, a great songwriter. And we're going to be mixing this, so you're going to see the process how I mix it.
There you go, that would be fun.